The thing that has made you a successful entrepreneur might be the very thing that is holding you back from building a successful personal brand. I've been building personal brands for entrepreneurs, executives, and CEOs for over 17 years now. And across those 17 years, I have noticed 3 common mistakes that I see you making that is holding you back from building a personal brand that actually gets you the results you're looking for. And the first thing holding you back from building a successful personal brand is that thing that you have optimized for to become a successful entrepreneur, which is optimizing for high leverage activities, which essentially looks like getting more out for what you put in. While I agree with this and I want your personal brand to be optimized for this in the long term, I actually believe that you are putting too much emphasis on a high leverage personal brand in the beginning. And that is not where you need to put your focus. So many entrepreneurs that I have met with immediately hire a content director or a head of personal brand and outsource all the content writing and ideation to them. And I understand this way of thinking, but this is not how you built your successful business. And in the same way that you invested a ton of time and effort to stand up all of these different departments within your business, your personal brand needs to be treated as such. You need to invest an ungodly amount of effort in the beginning in order to be able to reap the rewards and to reap that high leverage activity down the road. What this looked like for me when I first started building my personal brand is writing incredibly long form videos. I'm talking like 6.5 hours. My second video on YouTube is 6 hours and 22 minutes long. And the outline that I wrote for it is somewhere between 40 and 50 pages. I spent easily 30 to 40 hours writing that video. Now, this is an extreme case. I'm not encouraging you to necessarily do that. But my point is that if you hire somebody to come in and run your personal brand, and your personal brand is predicated on the credibility, the legends and lore, your backstory, the failures you've had and the lessons you learned from it, the successes that you've had and the lessons that you learned from it. If that's what you're building your personal brand off of, but then on day one, you're outsourcing it to somebody else, how are they going to be able to tell those stories? How are they going to be able to share the principles and tactics that you have developed over your years and years of experience? I want to tell you about the story of a founder that we worked with this last year. We'll call this founder George. We partnered with George. George told me in the onboarding process how serious he was going to take his personal brand, how much of a priority this was, and how much he wanted to build something that he was proud of and that was unique. And I was extremely excited, bought in, believed it completely, and was all gung-ho. We went through the process of hiring their head of personal brand. We brought them in, and immediately I started seeing the red flags. Within a week, George stopped writing his own content. And granted, George had built up a fairly decent personal brand without a team, just doing it by himself. And he was putting a lot of effort in. The moment that he brought a team in, he immediately outsourced and delegated everything to them. All of the ideation, all of the writing, everything. And what George would do is the team would submit the outline for a YouTube video, for an upcoming shoot, for him to review. George would review it in like 10 or 15 minutes. George would approve it in those 10 to 15 minutes because he wasn't actually reading the outline. And then he would show up for the film session and be completely disgusted by the outline. Like, what the fuck is this? Why are we filming this? We need to completely rework it. And George was getting incredibly frustrated with the lack of output from the team. But what George didn't realize is that he was the bottleneck. He had created the constraint. Because how on earth can anybody know you well enough from day one to be able to tell your story for you? It's impossible. And so what I encourage you to do is in the beginning, in the same way that if you're going to hire a CEO to replace yourself in your business, and you have to spend an ungodly amount of time training that person and bringing them up to speed, you need to do the same thing for your head of personal brand, for your content director. You need to invest as much time as humanly possible into them and into the content, the ideation and the writing so that you give them a ton of context and source material to be able to work off of in the future. Because if you're outsourcing the knowledge to your team, if you're outsourcing the information that you share to your team, guess what that's going to be based off of? It's going to be based off of their expertise and their experience, not yours. You don't want to outsource your expertise and your experience to somebody else. Establish a bank of content, a bank of your thoughts, your concepts, your frameworks, your stories that your team can then leverage in the future. But that only can be leveraged in the future if you provide it in the upfront. I'll frame it to you this way. Do you believe that you could have scaled the business that you have built by working on it for just 30 to 60 minutes a week? If the answer is no, then you have your answer on what you need to do now. In a world where 750,000 hours or more are uploaded every single day to YouTube, you outsourcing your fucking video to your head of personal brand is not going to be the reason why you stand out. And so if you're starting out, I want you to remove any thoughts in your mind of, I'm going to build my personal brand in less than 30 minutes a week. I want you to think about, how can I put as much time and effort as humanly possible into building this personal brand for the first 12, 18, or 24 months. I want you writing the content. Your team, if you have a team, they can get you to third base. They can give you the structure that they want. But I want the actual thoughts, the concepts, the frameworks, the tactics that you share, the principles. I want that to come from you. And the second thing that's actually holding you back from building a successful personal brand is your expertise. You're too much of an expert. You've been doing this too long. And you have blind spots. The ways that you are thinking about the problems that you solve, the actions that you're taking, the ways that you operate, these are wildly unique to you, and they are wildly advanced for your audience. But because you are such an expert and you've been doing this for such a long time, you discount these things as basic or trivial, when in reality, these are the massive unlocks that your audience needs to hear from you. And so too many people are trying to build their personal brand and they have no outside voice to validate what they are doing or to call out the ways that they're thinking or the ways they're operating that are wildly unique and different compared to the norm. An example is somebody that we have worked with this year. He had incredible success in building a business in the e-commerce space. He is building his personal brand now. And we did one of our really intense one-day deep dives on his personal brand. We were going through some of the world building exercises that we like to walk our clients through. And one of them is named concepts. This is a concept that you already teach in your content that we're going to define in a very clear way. And we're going to give it a clear name so that your audience can actually remember it, repeat it, and reference it in the future. And what we were doing is we were going through what are some of the concepts that he teaches. And we had, listed out a couple of them and they were great. And then later in the day, he was talking about this concept that he has called visitor value. And I'm not going to go into explaining what it was, but I had never heard anyone explain this concept before. Trevor and I both immediately stopped him and we were like, dude, that is a concept. What on earth? And he was like, well, no, that's really basic. Everyone knows that. And I just immediately informed him, I have never in my entire life heard this concept explained this way. It was a moment where it just was so obvious to me that in order to acknowledge or be aware of the ways that you think, the frameworks, the concepts that you have, the ways that you solve problems, the questions that you ask, or maybe it's the actions that you take. It's the way that you operate. It's very difficult for us individually to be able to diagnose these things and recognize, oh, yes, this is gold, or, oh, this is basic. The takeaway here is the action, the exercise is you need outside validation. You need either audience validation, customer validation, or a team member validation. You need somebody to tell you, wow, that is wild. You need somebody to be blown away at how unique the way that you're thinking, at how unique the framework, at how unique the concept is, so that you know it's worth sharing. And if you're going to do the customer or the audience version, it's going to be the toughest. The way that you're going to go about doing this is you need to speak to your customers and pay attention to what they react to. So when you're doing a training call, a consulting call, when you're walking through breaking down somebody's strategy for X or for Y, when you are sharing these golden nuggets, these takeaways, these lessons, these tactics, these principles, You need to be observant and see, how does the customer react? When they react positively to something, that should be a signal to you that this is something that is worth sharing. Even if I think it's basic and just so obvious, clearly it's not, because it's resonating with my customer base. Now, the second version of this is you can do this with your audience. But the problem is here is then you have to go about sharing everything. And so the reason why I don't like these first two, the customer validated and audience validated, is you have to go through the effort of thinking through what you do, how you operate, and then you have to be able to see the response and actually be able to measure the response and have that indicate to you whether or not this is something that you should continue sharing. That is kind of a bullshit method, in my opinion, and most people struggle greatly at that. The most important version here is having somebody who is either your content director, head of personal brand, media director, whatever title you give them, your videographer, an editor, your assistant. You need somebody who is going to be able to observe your thought process, how you think, your frameworks, and the actions that you take, your ways of operating, so that they can identify the unique, novel things that you are doing that you need to share in the content, because it isn't basic, it isn't obvious. It's just basic and obvious to you because you are the expert who has been doing this for a long fucking time. Now, the third point here, I see way too many people doing it, and you might be one of them. And that is over editing, overly revising your content, giving way too many notes that are in no way, shape, or form mission critical. And what this looks like is obsessing over little details that don't actually really gain us much traction or move the needle forward in the way that we're wanting. I'm talking an overemphasis on the topography or framing of shots or the ways that a motion graphic is animated, like the actual movement, or even worse, another one that I see, and I understand it, I battle it constantly. I don't like that angle, or I look fat in that, or that, shows the bags under my eyes, or man, my crow's feet look horrible there. But one of the things that I see that kills momentum for personal brand media teams is this overemphasis on the shit that doesn't matter, on tiny little notes that are in no way, shape, or form going to increase the performance of the video or make it more effective for the audience to understand what they need to do after consuming. It's just a personal preference. And I'm all for taking into account personal preferences. There's nothing wrong with that. But in the beginning, and by the beginning, I really mean like the first 2 years, you really shouldn't be focusing on these things. These are nice to haves. These are ornaments on the Christmas tree. We need to optimize and focus on the basics, because what we want is we want to actually ship our content as fast as humanly possible to get it out to the audience, to get learnings, to get data, to see, are they resonating with it? Are they understanding? Do they want more of that? Or are they not fucking with that? And we need to try a new topic or a new problem that we need to solve. And so your optimization needs to be around momentum and speed of learnings, not around perfection. And what I find is a lot of this overemphasis on perfection really stems from, and I get it, insecurity. We're insecure about what we're sharing, that maybe what we're sharing isn't valuable enough, or isn't useful enough, or isn't interesting enough. And so we have to overcompensate with all these other things, all these crazy graphics, when in most cases, y'all, like graphics end up hurting your video. If it doesn't make it easier to understand what's being said, it's just a distraction. And it actually distracts the audience from being able to understand what they need to do to take action on what you're sharing to get the outcome that you are describing they could achieve. Instead of trying to perfect everything and getting to version 12 or 13 of a fucking video, you should do your fucking darndest to never go past a V3. Never go past a version 3. In your first year, especially, if we're at, critical mass, we've got a couple 100,000 subscribers, we've got a team that's cranking out content, we have a good system and process in place. Okay, get nitty gritty. But 99% of people that I see that are wildly nitty gritty, they're nitty gritty on content that is not performing. It's not getting them the results that they're looking for. Let's get the results that we want first, and then let's fine tune to our personal preferences. And so instead of giving into our insecurities and our fears and just delaying shipping a video by revising until the end. Let's have this be a line in the sand. From this moment on, we are going to do our best to only give notes on things that are mission critical. Okay, cool, Caleb. So you've made me aware of this lovely problem, but what the fuck do I do about the problem? I want you for your next 5 videos to only give feedback on 3 different areas. The structure, like what is being said. Is this structurally making sense? Are we communicating this information in a logical sequence? The hook. Is the hook bringing people in? Is it going to cause them to watch more of this content? And the third is your brand positioning. Okay, I want you to give notes on your video based on how this positions your brand. Did the editor or did the team put up a B-roll cutaway moment to a public brand or creator that you don't want to associate with? Okay, cool. That's worth noting to cut. Or do we have a line that was taken out of context that would hurt your brand? That would be worth giving a note on. So those are the 3 areas that I want you to give notes on, nothing else. You need to stop sweating the small stuff. Stop giving notes based on insecurity and focusing on the shit that won't lead to any outcomes. Start focusing on the only things that matter. There's more than those 3 that matter, but those are the 3 that I want to constrain you to. If you're sitting here saying, but the small details, this is what makes my brand feel premium. My response to you would be, yeah, sure, unless nobody is seeing your brand. You can't have a premium brand if nobody is experiencing it, right? And so we need to gain traction. We need to get people watching our shit. We can make it more premium. We can pay more attention to the small details over time. They are not things for you to focus on in the beginning or in the season where you haven't established the strong foundation, the base audience, the traction, the momentum that you need in order to be able to get to the point where you can justify sweating the small stuff. So now you understand why you've been struggling with building your personal brand. Click here to watch how Trevor and I built my personal brand month by month for the first year.